nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it is. Everything would be what it is. What it is, truly were. Everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be.
One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small, and the ones that muggies you don't do anything at all. Go outside.
So you think you could tell?
So I want to welcome you to another edition of the iPet Goat 2 breakdown. Okay, for those of you that don't know, this will be the third video in this series. Okay, so I have done a few breakdowns of this already on some of my YouTube. So we'll go ahead and pull that up here for a second. You'll see this is, for those that don't know, this is my YouTube here, St. John Pennywood Chichester III. And I've got quite a few videos I put out since then because I thought they were more relevant than this particular iPet Goat series. Now, I have broken down some things in quite a few broadcasts in the past. If you look here, you can see them across the bottom. Okay, we broke down the ghost sharks and some of the things that we were literally pulling the things right out of the headlines of the news of the day and applying them. You'll see I get a little creative with some of my creations here. This one here was September 23rd. Okay, breaks it all down here. Silent Barker. We're going to talk about that a little bit in this one as well. Okay, but this is going to be the full breakdown, guys. This is part 3. Okay, part 1 and part 2, right? This is part 1 right here. This particular episode here. This explains to you how to get out of the matrix. Okay, and I put these together so that people can understand and not have a fear of understanding of what all this is. Okay, so this was the cheat code to get out of the matrix and how to beat the iPet Goat. Okay, so that was part 1, and that's the solution to the problem that we're all facing. The reason you came to this channel, the reason you came to this video and to watch this video is so that you could have a better understanding of what is playing out in real time in front of you. Okay, so I want you guys to understand that, you know, with this particular series, I started it with the solution. Okay, and I think it's very important that you guys understand that right up front, that if you have not yet watched this any of these videos in regards to this iPet Goat 2, I would suggest you go watch this one first, because this is going to show you the way out, guys. And that's what's most important. The video itself, iPet Goat 2, shows you the way out inside of the video. And I'm going to break that down as we get to it, okay? But if you also go ahead and take a look, you'll see that I did another video, okay? And this particular video here was the breakdown of the beginning, like who's behind this information, okay? And what exactly is going on here, okay? So we came up with this whole entire solution here, okay, and it's just so long-winded. It was like 3 hours long, but I did include the solution inside of this as well. But as you can see, at the very end of this broadcast, I broke down the meanings of the names of the creators. Now, I'm going to be doing stuff like that in this video as well. So if this isn't like, if you just want to see the movie, go watch the movie. But if you want to see the meanings behind the things in the movie, then continue to watch this. Because if you're expecting it to be like, oh, this cool, great graphic thing that, you know, like he points out and he moves on to the next great graphic thing, like, yeah, I'm going to be doing that. But I'm not going to only be doing that. We're going to be jumping in back and forth between philosophies and ideologies and news stories and religious things and gematrias and kabbalahs and blah, blah, blah. This is the way it is, guys. I didn't create this shit. I'm just here to break it down, analyze it, and present it to you. Okay, so this was the breakdown of all the names. And basically, Heilofant, what it means, okay, is it is the children or child of the sun, 23. That's what it comes down to, okay? So we did that already. So we're not going to waste too much time getting involved with all that. But I'm going to start with this aspect of the iPet Goat 2, okay? So for those that don't know, the way that this whole situation unfolded was back in around 2012, okay? They came out with this video, and it was like this graphic video of, you know, all this stuff. And, you know, we'll see it as it plays out. If you haven't watched it already, I'll have a link in the description. You go watch it first, then come back and join me, right? But basically at the time, it was like, oh yeah, this is all about 9/11 and what went on with that, and you know, like you know, things along those lines. Like Obama was coming into office, and you know, like they had a little bit of a tribute inside of there about Obama. So people were like, oh wow, this is like, you know, it alludes to 9/11 and da 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 da, and everybody just kind of like brushed it off like it was just another, you know, conspiracy rabbit hole at the time, you know. But what had happened was there became like a for lack of a better term, a cult following of this video. And over the years, people were dissecting it and breaking it down and applying it to current situations. And, you know, the September 23rd was like a big deal within it, because it's easy to see that they're alluding to September 23rd inside of this movie. But, you know, like a lot of people were trying to figure out like what exactly it was saying, what it was communicating. And what people had become to start realizing was that there was more to it than just the 2001 9/11 incident. There was way more to it. And now, all these years later, just the other day, actually, the creator of that YouTube channel right here, we'll put it up here, he went ahead and he posted a video on here, and he hadn't posted a video in 11, 12 years, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden he posts a video, and then like a few days later deletes the video and all the other videos he had on his channel here. They're all gone. And at the same time, he went ahead and he deleted his website, right? Their website. I wouldn't say he. It's not a he. This is a team of animators and creators that are in the know with what's really going on in the world. Okay, so they deleted their website. They deleted the content on their YouTube channel. But notice I'm still subscribed to it. And I'm subscribed to it because there's a chance that they might throw another video up there, and I want to be able to catch it when they do. So the particular video they did the other day was very interesting. There's a lot of people trying to break that down and understand what that means. But, you know, like there was a lot of hype about September 23rd, and, you know, like I played into it a little bit, you know, like because it is a significant date throughout the history of movies and music, and the hand symbols, you know, with the two fingers up and the three fingers down, and, you know, like over and over with the peace sign and the devil horns, and, you know, like the hang loose, and all the different ones that exist. 2-3 is a very common theme. Okay, so with that all being said, you know, we're going to get into this, but I wanted to explain to you the original significance behind this, like why this is even a thing, guys, right? So they deleted their videos, and nobody can watch their videos anymore. They're all gone. There's 30,000 people that were subscribed. Okay, I'm assuming that they are people that are in the know. That's why they're subscribed to them. Okay, so like I said, they deleted their website and they deleted all their videos, yet they left their YouTube channel up. So it wasn't like they were blocked or banned. And the video that they uploaded the other day wasn't something that would be blocked or banned. There was no copyright strikes involved. There was no nothing of harm or danger that could be easily recognized in that video. Okay, but we'll be breaking that down in future episodes. But let me just go ahead and get over here, because I want you guys to see that if you go in here and you search for them, you will still be able to find the videos. Okay, they do exist. Okay, they just happen to exist on different channels. Now, if you try to go there, right, nothing, right? So we'll go back, right? So where do we get to see this video at, John? Okay, well, it's real simple. We go in here and we type in iPet Goat 2, right? And then it comes up as a CGI 3D animated short by Heilofant, but it's on a different channel now, right? Oh, wow, here's an interesting thing, right? So here's this other channel of animators who has this video available on their site. So there's definitely some kind of permission that was granted for them to be able to do that, right? Not just anybody's putting up someone else's work without some type of permission, some type of copyright permission, okay? Although Heilofant does not object to people utilizing the video inside of their videos, to actually go ahead and turn around and upload the video like it's your own video is kind of like, yeah, it's plagiarism. Like, people don't do that, okay? So here's this company here, this CG Brothers, right? And I you know, like I had to like say to myself, like, what, you know, like there's got to be correlation here. Like, why would these people allow these other people here, these CG Brothers? Why would Heilofant's people allow CG people to, you know, CG Brother people to put their video up? So they need a little closer look, I think, right? So, you know, leave it to the Revelator, you know, like I got to go do that, right? So for those that didn't do it, you know, like I'm the guy that does it. Now you come to my channel and you get to watch it, and it's real easy for you instead of doing your own work, right? You have to come look at my work, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. It gives me some purpose in this world. Again, I don't charge for this work. There's no subscription fees. I'm not asking you to join any classes or sign up for emails or none of that kind of crap. It's not what goes on here. This is totally free broadcasting. This is set up and designed to enlighten others. Okay, I do provide solutions to the problems of the world in a lot of my videos. I talk a lot about my own personal stories. So if you haven't already, get over there, like, comment, subscribe, and follow my work so that you can see what's going on, because I do broadcast the news, and I do consider myself a modern day news broadcaster. Okay, especially when it comes to the weather, where we take into consideration things that people don't, which is like the agenda and the narrative, the bullshit narrative that's in place, and the agenda where we're trying to expose their weather programs and their weather modification techniques. And we have a broad range of contacts and people in different locations around the world that feed me information, whether it's online or in person, that allows me to provide content to you guys that's close to the actual reality of what's really going on, as opposed to what they tell you. Because, I don't know, you're probably over here because of what they're telling you is not cutting it anymore. Interestingly enough, when we talk about these type of people, you got to understand it. These are dark occultists. They have a religion, okay? Now, you yourself do not have to personally believe in their religion. That's fine. Doesn't mean you're not going to be affected by them and their actions, in their, crazy belief systems, okay? Saying that's like saying, well, if that guy over there throws a match in the forest, catches fire, okay, I won't get burnt. As you can see, I'm on fire right now, okay? So thinking that just because you personally don't believe in a particular thing does not necessarily make it untrue, okay? So when we talk about these things, it's not necessarily that I believe in them, okay, or that you should believe in them. Nothing along those lines is further from the truth, okay? What I'm saying to you is that you need to understand that the people that run this world do believe in this shit, okay? And they're using it. They're using it and they're playing it out in real time, okay? So let's just get right into this. If you go to gematria, right? Gematria is a correlation of taking numbers and words and letters and making them so that they correlate to one another, okay? If you guys want to know more about that, I'm sure you could do a little bit of research on your own, okay? But I'm going to break this down to you. What you do is you come to a site like this, a gematria calculator. I happen to like this one because I think this one's very simple to understand. Plus, it also provides you more than one option as far as the different types of gematria that exists, right? So you have Hebrew gematria, okay, you see it here, Hebrew, right? Then you have English gematria, and then you have something that's called simple gematria. And I'd like to go to this site because it breaks down all three, so it makes it easy. I don't have to keep jumping around to different websites. It keeps it very simple for me. And I'm trying to keep it very simple for you, even though it's extremely complicated, right? So let's go ahead and figure out. So we typed in Heilofant, which is huge, right? And let's just go in here and see what it says, right? Wow, look, it gives you Torah, the egg of lamb, okay? Elephant, golden gate, Casper, the fool, Palladians, gift of God. There's the Heilofant. That's the one we typed in. Damian Lillard, Pilot, Tory, Riot. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff in here, right? I think it's very interesting. Words like this are in here, right? And words like this are in here, right? So it's very interesting that those two words correspond in gematria to Heilofant, right? So let's just go ahead and see if we see. Look, there's another one. That's interesting, right? And then we have hallelujah, right? Honorable, right? Hidden codes, right? Netflix, interesting. Antarctica, there's always a lot of interesting things with Antarctica, right? So, you get the idea. I'm not going to get into this too much here, but you see that there's a reason that I've done this, right? So you've seen those couple keywords that I pointed out to you. Now, before we get into the movie, I do want to break down a few other things here, okay? First, let's just talk about me for a moment. Now, it's interesting that the gematria has me in it as well. And I didn't have to add it. It was already there, which is very interesting to me. It's like someone else must have added it. I don't know. Because usually there's a button that allows you to add. Maybe it's not this calculator. I'm not sure. But interestingly enough, it has things like I love you more. And I do, guys. I love you more. It has things like shelves are empty. We remember that. We didn't like that too much. Right? First twin flames. Let's see. The thinking man travels east. That's a Masonic term. I am not a Mason. I do not subscribe to that ideology. I am very knowledgeable with that ideology because, as I said before, the ones that run the world are utilizing those things against us. And I need to know what they're doing so that I can better prepare on how to proceed to keep myself and you guys, the listeners, safe, right? The interesting ones I like are, I've sent you. I think that one's a cool one. Command all my inheritance to manifest. You will. It's time for justice. Here we are, guys, right? So you see, like, this is why I go into the whole gematria thing, because it does strike a chord inside of me, and it's very interesting. It's not something I thoroughly believe in, but it is something that I like to watch. So let's get back to the story here. So we got the CG brothers, right? Interestingly enough, they have their own website, and there's lots and lots of content available on this website, right? And, they've got some interviews, and there's some pretty interesting names associated with some of these people that are involved with this organization. If you want to take the time to go ahead and type them into the gematria calculators, I suggest you do that. You'll find some very interesting results. We're not going to get too far off on a tangent with this, right? So we're just going to go right to the next thing, which is this. So what I did was I typed the CG brothers into the gematria calculator, and some very interesting things came up, right? First and foremost, we have a situation going on there on a worldwide level, right? We had some recent incidents going on here recently, right? Husband, meaning the patriarch, the male of the family, right? The male dominant brain, the male dominant psyche, right? That's very interesting. Then you got the Satan, you got Lemuria, and if you know anything about the history of Lemuria, Lemuria was like this ancient race that destroyed Atlantis and everything else because they took technology and they misused it, or maybe there was some type of cataclysm that was coming and they just didn't know any better, right? I say these things so that you can have an understanding, right? You also see good secret code in there, and there's some other ones, you know, more about eggs and hermits and fire in the hole and all this other stuff. Nukes, I thought that was an interesting one because we are going to break some of that down in this video. Meta Angel Team. Okay, we're talking about Meta as in Facebook, right? But we're not talking about the good angels, guys. We're talking about the bad angels, right? So I thought it was kind of interesting, right? It says fuck the CIA, right? So like they're just puppets of them anyway. But these guys that are involved with this stuff, they're all on the same team, man. They're all on the same team. So let's go back to this video for a second. And I want to start off with this right here. So we'll go with this. Hold on. So notice there's sound, okay? Now, this is a little less known to most people, right? But there is some sound in here, okay? And you have to do a little bit of homework to find out what the sound is about, right? But let's go to what they say when they reposted this video, right? They said a story about the fire at the heart of suffering. No doubt, right? Bringing together dancers, musicians, visual artists, and 3D animators. The film, like I said, I always like to see what they say, right? Let's go with what they say, right? So that's what they say. The film takes a critical look at current events. A mysterious figure travels aboard his boat through a dark and desolate landscape in his quest for inner peace. Okay? Main software, they list the softwares involved, download the wallpapers, and of course I told you that site don't exist anymore. But here's where it gets a little interesting, right? Original soundtrack, right? We were looking for the sound, right? Original soundtrack is The Stream, written and performed by the Tanaku Project, right? You can find them there at that website. So, interestingly enough, right? If you go and you search the word Tanaku and see what it means, right? This is what you come up with. You come up with a raccoon dog, right? And isn't it so interesting that in the very beginning of this video, you see that there's a gentleman here walking a dog, right? Isn't that cool, right? Well, let me get me out of the way a little bit so you guys can really get a better look here at what we're showing you. Because we're going to start breaking this down, guys. This is the part you've been waiting for. All right, so right here, you see this guy? You know, it's funny. I like to get like some kind of historical date and time of when the term white hat was actually coined. I don't know if it was going on during Obama's administration, but we all know that in the run with Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump, that it was definitely something that was in play. But back when this was created 12 years ago or 11 years ago, was white hats a thing? I'm just curious, right? But there he is. There's the dog getting walked by the white hat. Isn't that cool, guys? Super cool, right? But we're going to back it up because this is not, we're way ahead of where we want to be, okay? So I want to make sure I cover everything. But we're talking about the sound, right? So here we go with the Tanaku, right? So Tanaku, right? If we were to take the word Tanaku, show you how I do this, copy, right? Then we go over here and we go to Gematria Calculator. Let's just see, because I don't think I've done this one yet. Let's see what that says, out of curiosity, right? Interesting. Very, very interesting. So the sound that you're hearing in this soundtrack is attributed through Gematria to these words. Soul, the Garden of Eden, the Angel of Death. Soros, wow, big surprise there. Conception, which is like what they're doing with this, right? I asked if he needed help, okay? Dan, I was thinking maybe Tribe at Dan with that. Hannah Montana, no coincidences there, I'm sure. Miami Dolphins, Essential, Darkness. Prediction, you know, and it goes on and on. I am, right? Mark of his name. I am darkness, right? You know, let's see. For English and simple gematria, let's see what they got here. They got Titanic, right? Black Rock's in there. Look at that, Black Rock. How about that? Boy, it must just all be a coincidence, though. You know, Master, you know, the plan. Must just be a coincidence, guys. You know, 91, which is when, oh no, that was 90, but 91, you know, that's in there. Humans, Geometric, Oklahoma, remember Oklahoma City. Cocaine Bear, interesting. Red Pill, interesting. Revenge. Metallica, Dexter 19. All right, so you know the mark, very, very interesting. All right, so that's Tanaka, right? But the reason why Tanaka is such an interesting thing, right, is when we go into this video and we see this intro, right? Right here, the very, hold on, let's just slow it down a lot. I really feel like we're going to miss it if it's not slowed down enough. Let's make sure we got the best quality, best speed. Back it up a little more, right? Let's make it big. Okay, you guys ready? Now pay attention. Okay, let me get me out of the way for a minute here. I don't want to be messing up what's going on here. But the first thing you're going to notice is that there's an individual here, right, wearing a black cloak, right? He's wearing a black cloak, and it looks like he's got his hand on this leash or wire, right? See it right here? You can see it very easily, right? He's holding the wire, right, that's wrapped around this huge knob. Now, I've joked about this in my previous broadcast. I've talked about this being like the string. Like if you untie the string and turn the knob, it all falls apart. And that's the truth. That's exactly what this is, guys. This is the string that if you untie this and you just turn the knob and it unties, it all collapses. It all collapses, right? And that's what we're going to do in this broadcast. We're going to make this whole darn thing collapse, right? So you got this ominous looking figure in the background here. There's always like these shadows that pop up throughout the entire thing of like, they look like demons and ghouls and goblins. And I guess it's good that it's because right in time for Halloween or whatever, right? But you'll see that he's holding this like a wizard. He's a dark occultist. He's holding this string that's got his hand around the strings around the knob here, right? So let's go a little further, right? Now you'll see that as it zooms in, right, you'll see over here to the right, you'll see what looks like barbed wire fences. Now, in the past, this has been attributed to FEMA camps and everything else. And I'm going to say, yeah, that's all a strong possibility as well, right? But in addition to the FEMA camps, right, I'm going to say that this is the electronical, technological prison that we've put ourselves in as a species, as a society, okay? This is the electric grid. This is the supermarkets and the GMO foods and the technology that we rely so heavily upon in our society. That's all being controlled, right? And notice that the rabbits are jumping into the situation, right? The other thing that you'll see as we play a little further here. A little further, right? Now, there's something that's being introduced here. You've got these 6 lights in the sky, right? 6 is a very significant number to these people, right? But I also want to add that it's not just the 6 that's a significant number, right? But it's the fact that it's light, okay? So this is the dark light of 6, okay? 6, let's just go ahead and do it real quick so everybody's on the same page with me, right? Symbology of number 6. Abundance, prosperity, right? Notice it's on the inside of the fence, right? Unconditional love and the ability to support, nurture, and heal. Okay, what's the meaning of the number 6, right? Beauty and harmony, also called the love number. Okay, so what is it that you're loving? You're loving the inside of this paradigm, this reality that you're in with the technology. You're in love with it, right? This is the dark light, the dark occultist. This is what they believe. Now, if you'll look, you'll see that all these little barbed wire barbs, right, all look like rabbits hopping into the fence, right? So it's like, it's not just the rabbit on the pole here. It's all the little rabbits on the wire. They're all on the wire. They're all connected to the matrix. Okay, that's what's going on here. This is more than just a knob. This is like a projecting dome. Okay, we're going to get into that a little bit too. Let's just go a little further here, right? Okay, so the first thing you see get lit up, and I want you guys to really pay close attention here. I'm going to pull myself back in here for a second. Hold on. Come on now. It's because I got the big pointer on. Everything's dragging with it. Okay. Let's get me back in there because I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this thing, right? All right, so in here you'll see, right? You got the guy with the white hat. He's just entering the scene, okay? He's got the dog. It says the word wolf here. You've got this dark circle. Hold on. You guys weren't able to see the pointer. Okay, so you got the guy with the white hat. You got him holding the string with the dog saying wolf. You've got the dark circle here, but you got this thing here, which is obviously, if you ever seen one of those globes you know, for the Earths, the planets, like they're on those little spindle type things. That's what that is there, guys. And notice it's all dark, right? Because inside of this matrix that we're trapped within, right? This is the dark Earth, the dark work, okay? The dark work of the world of these dark occultists, right? That's what this is right here, right? And interestingly enough, you start to see something else develop over here, right? Now, I want you to understand, I figured out what this is when it first enters the frame, right? When it first enters the frame, let's back it up a little. 7 minutes and 30 seconds. We're going to turn it into 3 hours probably, right? But we have to do it this way because it's the only way to do it, guys, right? So you'll notice it starts to enter the frame right here, right? See this right here? It starts to enter the frame. And like I said, you know, he's got his hand on the string, and this is the like the nodule that sends out all the information and the frequencies and the radar and all that good stuff, right? That's what this nodule is, right? This is the linchpin that holds it all together, right? Remember I was explaining, if you turn this knob, it all falls apart, right? All right, so there's your dark Earth, there's your white hat entering the scene. Notice the dog was first and the word wolf, right? Very interesting that this word wolf is here, right? But also interesting that this enters the frame now, right? So here we are, right? We'll go a little further, right? This right here is actually a rocket taking off over the Earth. Right, so the rocket launches, and now the spotlight's on this scene here, right? Down here at the bottom, you'll see that there's a mountain, and inside of the mountain is the letter M, right? M for Mason, Masonic. Notice it's in white, and it's like shaded a little because it's peeking at the mountain, right? So you had the good and bad workers of the Masonic orders that created our world and run it, right? Put us in this position. That's how we got there. This is the mountain that they've climbed to get there, okay? Now, guys, it's a good girl. Get up there. Good girl. Athena wanted to be a part of the broadcast, guys. I told her, I said, we're not doing dogs this week. We're not doing dogs this week. We're doing goats and rabbits. But we are doing dogs. We're doing the evil dogs, not the good dogs like Athena girl. Athena girl's a good doggy. Oh, she come over to say hello. It's a good girl. Yeah, how about you go ahead and go lay down up on the bed? Go ahead, get up there. Go ahead, come on. Get up there. I know you heard me talking about you. Let's not wreck the cameras and stuff and the wires. Back up. Go ahead. Good girl. Get up there. 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 Let's go. Good girl. That's a good girl. That's my good girl. She listens to everything I say. Just like a good order follower. I want you to know that if you're a part of these systems, you are their dogs. Okay? This has been proven to me by a friend of mine. I'm wearing his shirt right now. It says Mark Passio and the Science of Natural Law. I suggest you go look that up, okay? Because that's, like, this is the doorknob that unravels all their shit. But if you want the key that you can put into the lock and turn and, like, open up a reality that you can create for yourself, the Science of Natural Law is going to be the one that does it, guys, okay? Getting back to this film. Okay, so let's just go ahead over here. I want you guys to understand, right, that this is the dark Earth. Right? See, it's on the spindle. These are the white hats that are controlling the dog, right? The dogs are everybody that follows the orders. But see this word wolf here? Very interesting. Like, at first glance, you would think wolf, you know, the dog saying wolf, you know, like, and that's what it means. Not so much, though. Not so much. In fact, we'll go over here to our trusty first dictionary in the United States of America, the 1828 dictionary from Webster, and the definition of the word wolf. What's it say, guys? The threads that cross the warp in weaving. So there's weavers. There's weavers here that are weaving this. Okay? But the threads, the ones that make it happen, are all the people that participate in it. The rabbits jumping in and the dogs that, you know, keep an eye on the situation, right? Yeah. So we'll go a little further here. Now you'll notice that something else has occurred, right? Now this knob has created in its subtle way, it looks like a nose and a mouth, kind of like Mickey Mouse or something along them lines. And over here, the rocket is no longer a rocket, but now it is a satellite. And this 6 light thing over here kind of reminds you of a satellite up in the sky. Notice there's no pole holding this. You know, these aren't necessarily, I mean, they could be lights in a FEMA camp, but I'm thinking that they're lights from a satellite. If you go and you look at recent pictures of satellites, you'll see that they have lights on them. And this is very reminiscent of that, right? So you got the wolf, you got the dog, you got the white hats running the dog, right? You've got the M for the Masonic mountain that was built, right? And you've got this smiling, odd figure over here, right? So let's just go a little further. Notice the rabbits, right, are starting to do something different. Some of them are actually changing. Some of them look like they might be trying to get away. Let me get me out of the way so you can see what I'm talking about here. Very important. You see how some of the rabbits look like they might be trying to get out? Okay? But notice they cannot because they are stuck on the wire. They are stuck in the matrix. Okay? Pay attention now. Gets good. Right? They can't get out because they're stuck in the matrix here, right? Now, there was some interesting things that occurred up here, right? Couldn't really see what that was. I think it was intentional, right? But I also would think that it probably has something to do with what I was saying with the rabbits trying to get away, right? Could just be dust and debris. I don't know. Possibly. But now over here, if you look over here, you got this smiling guy, right? Looks like he might have a tie on, like, you know, representing finance and business and all those good things that help create our society today, right? You got the goat with the typical barcode on his head, right? We know what that means if anybody's paying attention, right? But interestingly enough, doesn't this goat's face look like a rabbit's, like a rabbit's butt, like, and that would be like the bushel, or, you know, like a rabbit running over here. Just pay attention to what's going on here. You'll see the bell came out, right? You'll see that the satellite's been activated. Okay. Pay attention now, right? He's wearing the bell around his neck, right? You got this guy wearing the tie over here. It looks like he's got like vampire teeth, maybe some blood coming off of it, right? Some blood coming off of the vampire teeth, right? Make you think of things like adrenochrome and some of the stories you hear behind all that crap, right? And then you still got all these rabbits, right? Some of them look like they're trying to get away. They're stuck in the wire, right? But a lot of them are still like facing inward, right? Pay attention, guys. Okay, so now you can see predominantly the teeth, right? The mouth, right? The tie, right? The rabbit, right? All these things I was saying, the rabbit, right? And then you've got, almost looks like there's a reflection of a rabbit in his eyeball if you look close enough, right? And you've got the white hat over here, right? That's being controlled by the darker coldest, right? Everything's under control, right? All right, now hold on, let's go a little further with it. Now, as he leans down, right? Notice this satellite with its projecting frequency broadcaster here, right? Has the total control over the hand of this white hat, okay? So the white hat is in the background, but the control comes from the satellite, right? And the control is on this wire, and it's a dog, right? So we're going to stop here for a minute in this broadcast, and I'm going to back up for a second. You'll also notice that there's been like some demons popping up and reappearing and appearing. Looks like almost like a gargoyle's face or a devil's face here with the eyeball. This kind of stuff goes on consistently through the entire broadcast. You'll also see remnants of Draco, the character that you see later on. Also, if you look, you'll see the eyeball here and the eyeball here of the owl from Bohemian Grove, okay? And all the people that are involved with that organization and what goes on. Very subtle things, but they're there if you're looking for them. So there's the owl, right? But then you also see like the remnants of like a dog and his eye right here and his nose. Very, very interesting stuff, man. What a fantastic graphic design job these guys did, man. Like, how did they do all that stuff inside of this one little simple 7.5 minute clip? And how does it actually apply and come to understanding in today's reality, right? Well, I'm going to show you, right? So let's remember the dog, remember Tanaku, right? Tanaku, right? We were talking about raccoon dog, right? We'll go ahead and check it out. Okay, won't be that one. Funny that that's missing now, right? Definition, right? Examples of Tanaku. There we go. Let's go with this one. Wikipedia. That might be a good one to use. Okay. Interestingly enough, about this particular raccoon-style dog is it is part of the fox genre of dogs, right? See, it kind of looks like a fox a little, right? Interesting, right? It says right in here, significant role since ancient times, reputed to be mischievous and jolly, masters of disguise and shape-shifting, but somewhat gullible and absent-minded. The animals have also been common in Japanese art, particularly as subjects for statues, right? All right. Folklore and proverbs, they were not always clearly distinguished from other animals with a similar appearance, right? Now, the reason I say all this stuff, guys, you bring me up here again so you guys can see me. right? The reason I say all this stuff, guys, is because that particular satellite and that launch that I spoke about the other day is this same exact satellite here, the Silent Barker. And isn't it interesting that they used a dog that looks a little fox-like? Wow, what is the coincidences? What a coinky dink that they used the satellite patch of a dog that looks like a fox and they called it the Silent Barker. Now, we're going to get into this a little bit, but before we do, right, remember what I said about reputed to be mischievous and masters of disguise and shape-shifting, somewhat gullible and absent-minded, right? Okay, so there's the fox, right? Notice they got some stealthy-looking ships in the background flying towards a, some type of moon there, right? There it is again. There's the fox, right? That's the Atlas Silent Barker, right? They successfully launched it September 10th, right? Cape Canaveral, right? You can go and watch that if you want, okay? Here's another mission patch associated with the Silent Barker. NROL 107 from Cape Canaveral, right? Shoots off into the sky just like I showed you in the animation, right? And there's the dog with his tongue hanging out. Looks all sweet and innocent, doesn't he? Not so much. And we're going to get into that. Here's another patch associated with this same satellite. Man, that looks like a heavy metal. Like I would have sewed that patch on my jacket when I was a teenager. There's a lot of stuff inside here that I have not broken down yet, but man, isn't this such an interesting looking collar that he has on, right? Now, the Silent Barker might be the U.S.'s worst kept secret spy mission, right? Somewhat in the name, the National Reconnaissance Office upcoming Silent Barker space launch will be carrying spy satellites. The organization openly reports, right? Okay, now remember when they send the data, the transmissions back to Earth, okay? It says the United States National Reconnaissance Office has made public its intention to launch a new suite of spy satellites set to launch from Cape Canaveral, Florida. An announcement is unprecedented for this typically highly secret organization. Why have they made it public? In short, it acts as a deterrent. I'm going to tell you the real reason. That's bullshit. The real reason is you can't stop it. That's the real reason. This thing's going to go up there and do what it was designed to do. And I think I have some theories about what this thing is designed to do, right? But I'm not getting it from these people because we want to let you know to some extent what our capabilities are. And this is one capability that, if you think about it, has great value beyond just national security. Director of National Reconnaissance, the roundtable of reporters on Monday. We're trying to be more transparent and share more information, right? I'm sure that that's what they want to do, right? Knowing that we're in a time of war and we're going into more times of war and we want to be transparent. Bullshit. I'm not buying none of it, right? So they sent this up there letting the world know, right? Multiple payloads on tomorrow's launch, right? But what I really think this thing's doing, guys, is I think this thing has the capability, okay? These satellites in this particular launch has the capability. Let's just go see. Hold on. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. All right, so they have. I'm under the impression that this satellite has the capability of controlling all other technology that's connected to the clouds or the net on this planet right now. Okay, when I say control, I mean like they can literally go into any computer system anywhere that's connected to the internet or broadcasts as a signal, and they can intercept it, go inside of it, totally take it over, and act like it's it. Like, meaning that it can pretend to be that system and rebroadcast from that system. So it's like, give you an example, your local news organization, let's just say Channel 3 or Channel 5 or Channel 7 or Channel 10, whatever, right? You're watching the weather report, and all of a sudden, the office of NRO decides that they want to show you a storm that's not being broadcasted. So now they'll go in and they'll hijack the satellites, all of them that are involved, and totally change every transmission and broadcast instantly so that it looks and appears as though it's something that it's not. Shapeshift. Remember the definition, right? Okay. So I found it interesting because, like this was a big deal, like for them to announce this kind of stuff, and the patches are like really insane. But I was investigating this iPet Go 2 when I noticed the dog, and like interestingly enough, these patches, right? If you go back and you look at these patches concerning this particular satellite, right? And then you look at this dog down here, right? The dog, right? Based on what I know about how they call dogs, like their order followers, right? Like that's what they are, right? So it'll do whatever it tells them. Whatever they tell it to do, that's what it's going to do, right? But interestingly enough, if you go back and you research this NRO and you look through all their patches, see all their patches, they got so many, all these patches they got, Look, this one looks like somebody throwing a devil sign up, right? Like upside down inverted pentagrams, you know, devils, dragons, you know, like, and they've got multiple versions of all of them. This one looks like an owl, right? All this crazy stuff, right? Interestingly enough, if you look at all these different satellite patches, this one's called Libra, right? All this stuff, guys. But you don't see any, amazingly. Hold on, am I in the way? I'm in the way. Let me get out of the way. Hold on. So you can really see here. Let me show them to you one more time here, okay? All these patches for all the NRO, National Reconnaissance Office launches, right? All these different launches that they've had, right? All this stuff, all these patches, right? Devils and dragons and, you know, really crazy looking weird stuff, man. Owls and demons and panthers and eagles. They got a couple of eagles. They got a couple dragons and another eagle, you know, like eagle, moons and stars and Thors and hammers. And, you know, this one here is like one of those minotaurs and a ship, right? All this stuff, man. Phoenixes rising from ashes. You even got like witches and fairies and octopuses and more wings and looks like the Osiris thingy there. And, you know, pentagons and pandas and, you know, more eagles and flags and more dragons and more Pegasus and, you know, like all these things that they got. But did you notice there's a wolf? Is that a wolf? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there is another. No, that's a wolf. That's not the same as a dog. Okay? There's our dog. These are the ones that are scheduled to go out. You got gorillas. You got, you know, more of these, you know, like ancient mythological figures, and you got a deer one. That's going to be suspect as hell because that's also in this video, right? You got the deer antlers there, right? You got all this stuff, man. You got crazy. Well, there's one in the future. There's another one. Rapid acquisition small rocket. That's interesting. That launched. What was this one? I didn't see this one before. Okay, so there is another dog one. That satellite's going to need a little bit more investigation, right? But, you know, like, the bottom line is there's not a whole lot of dogs. So when I seen this, and I was listening to the soundtrack and trying to figure out this iPet Goat 2, like, it kind of, like, set me through, like, a little bit of a spin, a tailspin, where this has to be related to that, right? So let's get rid of these, right? Get to see them all again on the way out, right? We'll leave that up for now. We'll leave this up for now, I guess, right? But here's the thing, right? So, you know, you go searching on Google or Brave or Firefox, and very hard to find things anymore, man. It's like they intentionally have these algorithms set up so that you can never find anything, right? So I like to go into, like, my old school, like, I've been on the internet. I've been doing this for a long time, guys, man. I had a Commodore 64, you know what I'm saying? So I've been doing this, right? But the one that I like the most out of all the search engines, right, is this one over here called Dog Pile, because it reminds me of dog shit. Kind of like how I like the emoji. It looks like the poop, right? Kind of like that, right? So I went in, you know, like, I went in here and I tried to figure out, I said, you know, like, what am I looking for here? So I did a search, Silent Barker. Not much came up, right? So I tried to do, like, different combinations of words, and I still wasn't able to find anything other than, like, 4 or 5 people talking about that particular satellite. And they're not telling you anything about this satellite, right? But, you know, I did do this search here, and this came up. And I was like, man, isn't that pretty interesting, right? Civilization film from 1916, right? Produced by this guy, Thomas H. Ince, right? But why did that come up, right? So I'm like, what the hell? What does that have to do with that, right? I'm like, well, you know, like, you see the couple that come up. It has to do with Silent Barker, right? But this, right? I clicked on it, and this is what I got. Very interesting, right? It came up over here. Let me get rid of that. Right, so we're back to here, right? So here's this, right? Like, what is going on here, right? This, why would this come up? So I found out that it was directed by a guy named Reginald Barker, right? This guy right here. Very interesting individual, right? Started to look into him a little bit, right? And this is the reason why the word silent came up, is because this was a silent film. Oh, right. You mean a film that doesn't have any vocals, has maybe music playing while silent things occur on the screen. Very interesting, if you guys get around to it, to go and research the origins of films and filmmaking, right? But I found that this particular film, right, because it came up under Silent Barker the way I was looking, this one here, right, was a drama, right? And it was about, the story involves a submarine commander who refuses to fire at a civilian ocean liner supposedly carrying ammunition for his country's enemies. And I started thinking to myself, man, that sounds like something right out of the headlines today. Because they know that there's soldiers in this, that have the patch of United States flag on them, right? Soldiers walking around, that they know by their studies, their psychological studies, that they will not fire upon American citizens on American soil, right? So they're sending them all abroad, and lately they've been bringing in all these immigrants, and that's also in this movie we're going to watch, this clip. It's in there, right? I'm going to break it down a little bit. But I said, isn't it interesting that this particular story is like the same kind of thing, right? Birth of a Nation, right? It's something else that they created, right? Popular success, and was credited by the who? Democratic National Committee for helping to elect who? Woodrow Wilson. Well, isn't that something? Sometimes viewed as the first anti-war film, right? The film was one of the earliest movies to depict Jesus Christ as a character, leading some to criticize the depiction as poor taste. Very interesting. Very, very interesting, right? And it says, against these scenes, the film's title cards expresses the film's anti-war message, concluding with the following comments. Today, with great sorrowful eyes, the same Son of God gaze down upon the blackened fields where the mangled bodies of men are strewn as grains of wheat upon flaming, shattered hamlets and stricken firesides. As he listens to the screaming of the shells, the crashing of monstrous guns, all the ghastly symphony of the reddest war mankind has ever known, his heart must recognize the bitter truth in the statement of one of the world's foremost educators, that in 19th century's civilization has failed to accept honestly the teachings of Jesus Christ. This is an allegorical story of a war that has laughed at the world's flaunting boast of a higher progress. It does not concern itself as to which side is in the right or wrong, but deals with those ranks which are paying the grim penalty, the ranks of humanity. If the awful trail of battle stretches vividly through the scenes of the narrative, it is in the hope that a shocked and appalled world may henceforth devote itself more earnestly in the cause of peace. Let our civilization not be a mockery of our cherished ideals, but rather a synonym of that glorious work, humanity, dedicated to the vast, pitiful army whose tears have girdled the universe, the mothers of the dead. Now, isn't that in that CGI clip that we're going to watch, where the woman's cradling her child, and wow, and it's like, that looks just like, like one of them Hezbollah women, but we're going to get into that. So anyway, so there's the dog, right? We saw that. We're going to leave the patches up there because we might get back over to that. This I'm going to keep up because I'm going to go watch this because I found this to be extremely interesting, right? So there's the civilization, and then there's this guy, Reginald Barker, right? So I tried to see if he had any occultic connections. Of course, there wasn't any to find, right? But I do think it's awfully interesting that he talked about things like this and, things like that. And here's some of his other movies that he created, right? You got The Coward, The Italian, but then you got ones like The Devil and The Wrath of God. It's very Hearts of Flame, The Eternal Struggle, right? Very, very interesting stuff. The Great Divide, Rainbows, and, Rustlers and The Women and the Puppet, right? All very interesting stuff. But here he actually did some acting, this guy, right? The Vampire and Ben-Hur, right? All right, so we're going to get out of there because I really think that that's enough when it comes in. Oh, wait, let's just do it. Well, why not? Why not? Let's see what the gematria is. I got to look, right? Christine, that was a great movie. St. George, good luck, right? Well, what do we got here? Priest, right? That's interesting. Anointed One, Father Time, right? Not so much, I guess not too many things. Reptilian, that's interesting, right? In the Name of Allah. Interesting that he has a name that translates to things like that. Sprite, right? AI programming. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Anyway, Shipman's back. Stripe. Garden of Eden. Okay. The Moon God. Right? All was revealed. John Kennedy. Submersible. Right? They talk about it being something about a submarine. Yeah, it's not in this thing too. All right, let's get out of here. That's enough of that. I think you guys get the idea. This guy here, he was the guy who produced that particular film, Civilization. Now, if you don't know, he's also known as the father of Westerns, and really interesting. He was like the Henry Ford of the movie industry, okay? And we all know, what the connections are with the movie industry with what's going on here today, right? This guy was involved with all that stuff, assembly line of the system of filmmaking. So, like, he made over 800 films. He was pretty good at it, I guess. So we went in and we looked up the Silent Barker. Let's see what that one said, right? The Mirror, right? Isn't that the truth? Now, the mirror is always distorted, guys. Okay, so I think it's very interesting. God's Chosen One, Hussein, Natural, Bicycle, right? San Bernardino. Let's just keep looking here. Oh, throat chakra. What do you think that would have something to do? Wait a second. Are they saying what I think they're saying? Is it possible? No. Hold on. Let's go back over here. Let's turn this on for a second. Let's play this at regular speed. Wait a second. Throat chakra. Wait, where's this bell hanging from? A belt around his throat? Interesting. Very interesting. Let's play it with the sound. Interesting, right? Very interesting. All right, so we did this. What was it? Pepe goes right. Yeah, if you got any money in Pepe, get rid of it. Told my friend that the other day. Saved him about $3,000. I don't know, guys. Did esoteric Bible code, Astaroth, Gemini, Scorpio, which is where we're at now. Very Alia Angels, King Chon. Then it's game over. Taco Tuesday, Shapeshifter. Wait a second. Wasn't that in the definition for that dog? Sure was. Interesting, right? All right, so there's a lot of parallels there. We'll get out of there. And, you go search these guys that rebroadcast it. You'll see they got some, they got a couple of little things you can go look at, see what's going on here. Go see what their situation is here, right? They're out there in Chula Vista, right? They only got 3 employees. Interesting, right? Looks like they got a whole staff the way they present their materials, right? We did the 6. Let's get out of there. Let's go back to this now, right? All right, so, guys, here we go. We're going to do some more. You ready? We'll do it at a little faster speed. Boy, that sound there, when you do it in slow motion like that, what does that sound like? Sound like a rocket taking off, right? Interesting. Ding, there's the bell. They turned on the satellites. Now they're in control of everyone and everything. Especially all the rabbits that are jumping in. All right, let's get rid of the sound. We don't need that right now. But it's very mesmerizing. Very mesmerizing. If you notice over here, we did all the dark occultic stuff over here, right? You see it looks like a rabbit's like having some kind of conniption over here. It looks like maybe it's spitting its own heart out or something, right? Looks like the rabbit's yelling now, right? It went from just being a regular rabbit to a rabbit that's screaming, right? We saw a rabbit starting to run, right? Okay, let's keep going. Now, this looks like an extension of that, which is coming out here. And this could also not just be a satellite at this point. This could also be, right? Look, it looks like a rabbit running here. Rabbit's running now. Rabbit's running away. They're all, look, instead of jumping into the situation, they look like they're trying to get out of the situation now, right? See all that, guys? Right? Look at the rabbits down here. And they all look like they're running, right? Right? So you got these boxes dropping down. You got what looks like some kind of control going on over here. I haven't been able to figure out what these are, but I'm going to like make it an assumption that if you were to translate that into a different, like maybe Hebrew or another language, that could be like a 6 and a 6. Off of the monster canes. Remember the monster canes when you flipped the cane upside down, it was 666, like, and everybody made a big thing out of it. It looks kind of like those markings for 666. And then this would be the third 6 here, which is you, man, right, being controlled. Okay, you went from being a dog, being told what to do, having to be on a leash, to now they can do whatever they want to you because you're their pet goat, right? So there's been a lot of breakdown about this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 boxes, right? Out of the 11 boxes, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that have colors, right? Why have those extra 2? It's so they have the correlation of 9, 11. That's what they want you to know, right? Looks like the rabbit's frazzled now. See the rabbit that was his nose, right? It's frazzled now, and it's docile, and it's not doing well. Not doing well at all. Rabbits are running. See, this rabbit's starting to run too, right? These rabbits look like they're scared to actually enter now, right? So he sends out the alarm, right? Don't do it. Don't do it, guys. Don't enter the matrix, right? I, meaning you, are the white hat that's controlling all this shit, right? The pet being the dog. PE, right? PET, right? Let's go PE. Let's go chemistry. PE. What's PE? Reduction potential. Redox potential is a measure of the tendency of a chemical species to acquire electrons from loose electrons to an electrode and thereby reduce or oxidate respectively. Redox potential is measured in volts, millivolts in your brain, millivolts in your brain, the millivolts, right? Reduction potential. Then we got polyethylene, properties, structures, uses, right? It's the most widely used plastic in the world, being made into products ranging from clear food wrap and shopping bags to detergent bottles and fuel tanks, but also in food lately. Imagine that, right? All right, so let's go back. Go at 2. So 9/11 2, guys, right? Everybody on the same page? We all together on this? Here's the hands holding the puppets on the string. That's you. You're the puppet on the string, guys. See the shadow coming in, controlling. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, these are the dark occultists, the intergenerational crime families who have had their hands with lots of blood on them, right? You got when they seal a letter, like, I'll give you an example here. Weishaupt. Adam. Right? Early life, in case you didn't know, he was Civil Canon Law, founder of the, what is that? Illuminati, right? People that don't know, right? So how did he die? How did he die? How did he die? Does it say? Plan to educate, enthusiastic, defense, All right, activities in exile. Where does it say he died? Doesn't it? Gotta say it somewhere. Well, anyway, the way he got caught is because there was a letter being carried and it got intercepted. They found the letter and they said, "Oh, this guy here, he's into something crazy. He's a part of these people here, right? That are doing some stuff, right?" But you know, like, break it all down. That's what we're looking at, guys. That is an insignia that's used to seal letters with wax. Okay, notice the blood dripping, and they control everything. The serpent, the race of the serpent, right? Notice it's the same as a dollar, right? The race of the serpent people, okay, that are running this world right now. The real dark occultist controllers, right? Intergenerational Illuminati crime families got their hands on these strings that created all this crap, claws and man. See the strings? That's what we're all on, right? And we go right into this guy, right? The dunce, George H.W. Bush, right? Very interesting. The D on his hat stands for Dubai. They call him W, right? But it actually has something to do with W. Okay, I actually broke this down. I think I'm going to pause it here and go look for that and insert that clip here about all that, because I kind of broke this down a little already, and I'm going to find that and bring it in right now. Notice that the divine feminine sitting in the corner, the teacher, the one with the wisdom, is sitting in the corner, and the dunce is running the show, right? The comma, right? It looks like there's a heart back here, right? So this is your desire. What, like, this is right, like, if this goat wasn't in the box, he would have his heart right here. This is where his heart would be. So holding in your hand is the heart, okay? You have the heart and the bell to ring, okay? You have the heart, I, what I love. Pet goat, right? Pet goat, meaning, you know, selfishness, connected to technology and becoming a slave of the slave masters. This always, like, all these different shadowy images, you could go and play it on your own, but all these different shadowy images here that keep popping up, with, they look like a hand coming down, and it's a hand holding out the puppet master strings, and now you're the puppet. You're going to be the puppet. Now, how serious is this technology, John? How serious is this technology? This technology is so serious that there isn't a computer system on the planet that's connected to the internet or cell phone towers right now that this thing cannot get into, okay? Can get into any of it. And there's lots of fear on my part as to the use of this technology in the upcoming future, because if I'm using the phone or my computer, how do I know I'm actually connected to the universe or the internet, and I'm not connected to their version of it that they're showing me, which we've seen time and time again with censorship? But I want you to go deeper. I want you to go deeper inside. I want you to ask yourself, what if they specifically create a universe online for just me, and they keep me in my little box, right? They keep me in my little box, right? They keep me in my little box, and they feed me what they want me to see, all these different versions of shit, right? These are all antennas, guys. These are antennas. Rabbits running, and now they turn into dogs. A lot of stuff going on here. A lot of symbology, okay? But right here is crucial, because you are the one with the hat on. You are the one with the control. You have the option to participate or not to participate in this evolution of technology, the input and the output of this technology. You, okay? That's why later on in the clip with the classroom scene, and he's in the classroom, the U-I-O is missing, okay? You being you, and I-O being input, output. If you put your input into it, right? This is the output that's coming, okay? But if you don't put your input into it and you go, see the mountain, the peak of the mountains at the go, shoom, get out of here, out of here, out of here. Don't jump in here, rabbit. Jump out of here, out of here, right? And remember, like, technology and like for the younger generations, guys, I want you to understand, like, the technology and all the stuff that you're utilizing with the computers and the devices and the gaming systems and all this stuff, man, it's all very recent to humanity. Like, it's like they let the cat out of the bag right before, I don't know if there's natural catastrophes coming that they can't control, and they're just like, save ourselves and, you know, we'll control the rest and suck up all the resources and all. Like, don't think that they don't have like a total domination on all the resources on this planet, because they do. If they decide that rice is no longer a thing, then rice is no longer a thing. Ask India, okay? If they decide that they're going to flood your streets and break your dams, they can do that. They can do anything they want now. Like, we have total global domination. But I'm thinking, like, this is like, these are the hands, and like it's coming from the sky, and it's like, you know, like puppet master type stuff. Very, very sinister, right? Very, very sinister. Go back. We'll do it a little bit more, and then I'm done. A little bit more, and then I'm done. Dark Sorcerer, hand on the knob, right? Looks like maybe a tie, you know, like they present it like it's business, it's all business. Warped version of a human holding on to what looks like satellites, maybe, under here, right? And then this is very obvious what this is. This is the Earth, it's in darkness, okay? And this is all coming from the sine wave very easily, coming out, another sine wave coming out here, the dog barker. Like, they take in the information, it goes back to here, and then it comes right back out. It's the sine wave. See the sine wave I just showed you, the lambda, right? The lights go on, right? It looks like a rocket launch almost, right? Satellite opens up, turns on, everybody's tuned in. Oh man, I can't, guys. Here's the smiling, blood-soaked lip drooling down his face with blood or whatever the hell that is, oil. I mean, it's lots of options, right? But then there's those eyes with the owl. You got the Dracos in here, right? Looks like maybe a dead rabbit. I don't know, man. Ain't looking too good with that one, right? But right here, if you look right along this outline here, you'll see that there's Draco. That's Draco in there. So Draco is the spirit or essence. Maybe some people believe that they might be like a type 2 civilization that's controlling us, okay? There's some people that think that there is no space and it's all just like one big flat earth or whatever. And like, it doesn't really matter what you believe, okay? This is what's going on. This is the problem. This is the immediate problem at hand. Satellite dishes with hands on the levers, okay? With dogs barking, total control and domination of technology. And you're gonna either participate or you're not. And if you don't, you may become victim to what they have in store for us. This is the loudspeaker that I'm speaking through right now. I'm yelling, right? So when he pops his head out and the light turns on, right? Here's all this on this side, right? Remember we had the heart for a moment there when the bell was over in the photograph version? Right now we have like this demon-looking, sorcerer-looking thing with eyes, right? And he lifts up, right? And what do we got going on over here? Do we still got Draco over there? No, Draco disappeared, but there's other stuff in there, I'm sure. Looks like he might still be there. But it's definitely satellites. Definitely satellites. I mean, I don't see no pole holding this FEMA camp light up. You're worried about being put in a FEMA camp. That's one form of imprisonment. This is the electronical monoctagon, or whatever the hell they're calling it. That's the real FEMA camp, guys. Okay? And the suffering and the sacrifice of the goats. Did we look at that real quick? Let's just look at that real quick. Sacrifice of goats. We'll go with one that people know. We'll try the Bible first. Right? I can break it down. I can go all crazy with this. 37 verses. Let's see what we got. Leviticus, Numbers, lots of numbers. Numerology, gematria, numbers. They were big with their numbers, boy. Ezekiel, a prophet. Numbers, Ezekiel. Okay, so we go back up here. Leviticus is the first of all these books. Okay, and that's a 16:5 there. 3:12, 4:23, 9:3. All these here. Which one's the most soonest one? Okay, the most soonest one is the 3:12. And the first thing the Lord says, and this is how you know that this is not our God. This is not our God. Okay, moreover, if his offering is a goat, then he shall offer it before the Lord. That's not our Lord. If you're watching this and you have eyes to see and you don't want to be a part of this technocracy, tyranny, murder, rape, pillage, kill, manipulate, castrate children, all these things, this genocide, this eugenics that's going on in our society. If you're not a part of that, this is not your God. Okay? I promise you. Because the God that's behind this is the same God that's behind all that shit we're watching. Now, people used to say to me, because, they call me St. John, and let me make myself big here for a second. This is important stuff. I want you guys to, let's go to the one that says, one male goat for a sin offering, one male goat for a sin offering. You see all these repetitions here? Okay? So if they can get us to murder ourselves, right, they can be entertained for it, and their gods will be okay with it, right? They'll be okay for the sacrifice, the offering, right? Atonement, sacrifice. Atonement is a funny word for at one mind. At one mind, meant. Like government, gubermentus. At one mind. Okay? That's what that means. Blah, 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 blah. Where's the Ezekiel one? During the 7 days of the feast, he shall provide as a burnt offering to the Lord 7 bulls and 7 rams without blemish on every day of the 7 days, and a male goat daily for a sin offering. Okay, so we got automakers shutting down. We got all this stuff going on. I want you guys to really, really pay attention, okay? So I want to just talk for a minute, because my belief systems aren't important here. Like, what I personally believe is not important, right? But I am going to say this, and I'm going to say it to you is because you guys really need to hear it, okay? Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. It's just me and you now, okay? You with me? Just me and you, okay? Me and you. Obviously, I know something, and I hope that I was able to shed some light on some of these topics and issues. That is the game plan. That's how we win, by shedding light on this darkness. They have their fingers on buttons, and things could get really bad, but we still have to be in agreement with it, okay? Well, why does the natural disasters that they're creating and all this stuff, John, why does that happen if, those people aren't agreeing to die? Yeah, you're right. They're not agreeing to die. But what is going on, and this is where things get a little, right, is the ones that are in control, in charge, are master psychological manipulators, okay? So what they'll do, this is the crazy part, they'll convince you, the citizen, right, through their media and propaganda, that's done by others. They don't do it. Others do it, right, as you can see. They'll convince those people to tell the other people, the people of the land, say citizens of this country, United States, we'll use that as the example. They'll tell them, you need to do this in order to bring the order from the chaos, right? So then people will go do it. Right? Then they'll convince you, the people that aren't doing it, that you need to support that. Okay? So there's moral culpability on all these different angles. But I'm calling with this broadcast right now, and I think out of the stuff that I put out, I think people are going to share this one the most. It's just a little, call me a prophet or whatever. This is a little prediction. I have a feeling that people are going to actually watch this whole thing, and they're going to actually share and post and comment on it, unless they're still shadow blocking and banning me and censoring me. I put that other video up. The first one is part 1. It's the first edition, and it's cheat code, how to get out of all this. Okay, it's the beginning of how to get out of all this. And I'll do another one. I'll do another one for that, and I'll be doing these things until the culmination of what they have coming. They have something very special planned for all of us. There's a lot of naysayers. Oh, well, they're going to turn the vaccine situation on. They're going to turn the mask mandate situation on. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. It's going to be so much worse than that, because if you can remove the humans from the process of decision making, which they've done very successfully. In fact, if you notice in a lot of this this symbology and stuff that's going on, right, you'll see that there's a whatchamacallit, a lot of imagery that represents the letters AI, right? So it's not a coincidence that AI only recently came into being, okay? It's not a coincidence that the car unions are striking right now and cars aren't going to be produced, at least not the way they were and to who they were, okay? It's not a coincidence that all these natural catastrophes are going on. It's not a coincidence. Let me pull this one up real quick just so you can see, right? Let's go here, iPad Go. Well, we still got it open. It's not a coincidence. Hold up real quick. Where's that window? It's not a coincidence that we have all this crazy stuff going on in these third world countries, that he's got his hand on this pink ribbon and he's wearing the Demi Boy flag colors like represented here. It's not a coincidence that this grid exists and that looks like the alien in the Mexican, it's not a coincidence. None of this stuff is a coincidence. Okay, there's a red sword. None of this stuff's a coincidence. Everything that you see in this movie is being plucked out of today's headlines. Okay, so there he is there, right? The game plan is for total mind control of willing participants, okay, which they've been doing a pretty good job without the technology that they're about to push the buttons and create. But now they're really going to have it going. Like, people are just eating this up, okay? Looking for, what was I looking for? I got distracted. Yeah, it's not a coincidence that these images are being plucked right from the headlines today. Okay, this is real. These people with their satellite dishes pointing this way and the satellites sending the information back down, okay, and mind control. That's what this is, guys. Like, this is not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that there's islands on their faces that have been recently attacked, okay? It's not a coincidence that there's islands and different types of things occurring in the world today that are visually represented throughout these this broadcast, you know, of this movie from 12 years ago. Very scripted, okay? Very, very scripted, okay? Very, very scripted. Pineal gland, you know, the tonsils speak out. That's where the fire comes from. You know, like, these are all like very basic symbology things to someone like me, okay? When I stumbled across this, I watched it once and I couldn't make any sense of it. You know, like 9/11, yeah, it doesn't really look like 9/11, no, not the symbology that I've seen for 9/11. The classroom scene is the only part. So, like, you got to understand that these people that are involved with this, they've been doing this for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes, preparing for this moment. And only some at the very top of this food chain, okay, and it is a food chain, you are food to them, your pets, your goats, your dogs, and your food. And they're going to eat you, you know, like, in every way possible. Consume your energy. That's what they want to do, okay? He's pointing to the hangman, okay? We still have a chance to rein this in before it becomes something worse than what it already is, okay? We still have a chance to rein this in, okay, before it becomes something that we can't, okay? I want to thank you guys for joining me. I hope you learned something. I really, really hope that you learned something from this broadcast. There's going to be more. I'm going to be doing this until it's over, whatever it is, okay? I have some ideas, you know. So that was the thing. That's what I wanted to say, right? So, gotta get rid of this. Okay. So when I was working in rehabs and psychiatric hospitals, I dealt with a lot of psychological damages and psychological programming from the mind control and propaganda and the damage from vaccinations, okay? That people, when their DRD4 receptors and mu opioid receptors get damaged, their cravings for things in a physical and a mental way actually develops in a different kind of way where the propaganda is allowed to create selfish individuals and non-loving and non-caring people. So I have a lot of experience with a lot of different stuff, but I will say this. With the people ask me, no, it doesn't matter what I believe, like what my personal spiritual practices are, burning, you know, sage or, you know, like touching the earth or getting involved with nature. Okay, doesn't matter what my personal, you know, the ascension story of Christ and, you know, all that stuff. Like, none of that stuff is important to you. What is important to you, okay, is what they believe. Okay, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. They believe in some really scary, sick, evil shit. And in case you haven't noticed, it's been playing out in music, movies, television programmings, commercialized medicine, commercials, medicines, you know, just everything, how you're treated, your dignity, your human respect that you deserve. All that stuff has been all over the place. So, like, but I will tell you what my belief is, okay? Because they used to come up to me and they say, Mr. John, you know, like, what's the best recovery program? You know, what's the best groups to go to? And I would say to them stuff like, the one you work. You know, the best recovery plan that you could have in your life is the one that you work. And I'm going to apply that to this situation, okay? The best plan that you can have for this situation is the one that works. So the plan should be, how do I survive without the system? How do I survive without technology? Right? I know it sounds crazy, but how do I do it? Right? The second part of it is that if you are in a position of power, or you are in a position as what some people call an order follower, someone who takes orders from someone above you, right? And it's just the way things are. I get that, right? I've been in these positions. But if you're involved with something and you know that it's morally wrong, you're going to have to answer that. You're going to have to answer for that. I promise you, maybe in this lifetime, but definitely overall in general, you are definitely going to answer for that. The other thing is you can be born again at any moment. When I say born again, people are like, right? But I'm talking tabula rasa style. I'm talking about born again, right? Not like, some ceremonial practice or riches or, dunking your head underwater or any of that stuff. But coming to life anew, like new, totally new. New news now. This is the new news now. This is not binding you. This is not something that haunts you from your past. You become totally new. Okay? You have a fresh slate. Okay? You see that all these systems and all this garbage that, nothing makes me more upset than I've been to hundreds in this recovery process. And, when I was down in the state of Florida before, I ran around all these churches. I was getting involved and volunteering. And, the people are good. The ideas are good, right? And all this other stuff, man. But nothing hurts me more than the fact that all these people that are involved with these organizations and these religions and churches, and nothing bothers me more about them right now than the fact that they don't have a voice. Like, they can't speak. Like, they don't speak out against this stuff. The only time you see them speak out is when the media taps them on their shoulder and says it's time for you to speak out, right? But I was going to answer the question. So what do I believe? This is what I believe, and I try to keep it fresh and new all the time. I believe that there's the option of fighting this war, right? Which a lot of people that are probably watching this, like, they got their, their, I got my vest, I got my canned goods, I got all. So you have the option of fighting this war, right, or running from it, right? Or you have the option of picking good and evil, but you're picking good or evil, right? You could either be a fighter or you could be a victim of it, right? That's the mentality of most people. But I'm going to present to you guys a third option, and this is where it gets good, right? The third option is in the, it's part of that clip that I released yesterday, but the third option is I don't pick good or evil. I use discernment to see both for what they are. I don't pick either one. I always act correct in my actions. At least I try to. I make an attempt to. I try to be morally sound, right? So, when you're presented with the idea of what good and evil is, I was raised to believe that good was one thing and evil was another. And then as life went on, I discovered that good was really more evil than evil. So where did that leave evil? And I was like, wait, I learned about this God. It's supposed to be, loving and caring, but why does that child have those sufferings? And why was that person born that way? And why did that person get, murdered and raped or whatever? This is our society, and this is what we've been, bombarded with, the propaganda to buy into these systems and their ideologies. And I'm going to tell you, the best ideology to have is the third option. And the third option is my choice of, if I had to put a label on it, religion, right? Or spiritual practice, or, the third option is, no, thank you. I don't want to participate in that. How does that work, though? How do you sit there and say, I'm not going to participate in this war? I'm on the side of good. I have to fight. How does that work, John? Well, it works very simple. You, in your all-natural environment, can survive just fine. I've kind of proven that to myself over these past couple of years. Haven't really had steady income. Haven't really had, steady, support. It's been in and out, back and forth, all around. But, man, I never starved. I never died of thirst. I never died from the elements, out in the cold somewhere or anything, I'm just saying, guys, there's a bigger picture here, and it has to do with, what's inside here, okay? What's inside here? This is the bigger picture, okay? So I want you guys to, take everything that I say, run with it. No, take everything that I say and try to put it into a context where, what is the best way to deal with this situation? To maximize the best outcome for all those involved. Not just for me, not just for my family, not just for my children or my pet, or, but you got people that are literally arguing and shooting each other in the face over parking spots, and you have people that are literally walking into stores and stealing $7 worth of groceries. You've got authority in place with governmental systems and dogs. Okay, that's what they call you guys, dogs, cops, anybody that works for the system. You're a dog to them. Okay, that's why they give you dog tags, and I can get into that. Well, I will a little bit, especially with this video breakdown. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that it's an internal thing, guys. It's a heart, it's a decision, it's a discernment in every moment that you just have to make the best decision. If I see somebody that's in need and I can assist, I've made the decision to assist. And it's worked to my benefit. I might not have seen the results immediately, but sometimes years or months down the line, sometimes I just come to the self-conclusion that I did that good thing for that person and I never got paid back, and that's okay too. And like maybe I owed it to him from another lifetime, or maybe it's for something that I did to somebody else and I didn't get it back. You know, I got it back now, and you can have it back now too. Mindset. The last broadcast, I spoke about tarot cards. I want you to understand something. And I've said this in previous broadcasts, and even the people that I've said it to couldn't hear it, but I'm going to say it again so people can hear it because it's important. Yes, there is another dimension. There is another side to things. Quantum science is actually proving that right now. Who knows what this CERN operation is all about, what the purpose behind that is, and what that agenda is to fit into all this. It's beyond comprehension. However, I lost my train of thought, man. Happens a lot now. All this technology around me. It's very hard to figure up from down and down from up and backwards from forwards and forwards and backwards. I'm trying to keep up with these cryptic messages they got going on and all this. Oh, the tarot card. Yeah, right. So the thing with the tarot, right? Yeah, I've died twice. I've seen the other side. One experience was fantastic. The other experience was not so good. And probably the best advice I can give at this point in time for anybody that's facing death or about to die is my mindset at the time was very good when I had the good experience over there. That is sinless. Okay? When you're not selfish. Okay? That's what I'm talking about here. The true definition of sin is selfishness. Okay? In its original form. Okay? It can be considered theft. Theft of body, theft of goods. You know, we've heard people say these things before. You know? But what I will say is that try this again. Theft is sin. Selfishness is a form of theft. Okay? If you commit a selfish act towards others or think with a selfish mindset and you are done here, okay? Because you're going to be done here. I've done tier twice and I got one more to go at least, right? But maybe not, right? Maybe not one, maybe more than one, you know, if I'm lucky. But I think just one more, right? I got one more time to go. The third strike, I think I'm out. I think they taught you that somewhere. I don't know, right? So I think on the third strike, I'm going to be out. But if my mindset is selfishness and greed and these type of actions and activities and attitudes and behaviors, right? Mentality, right? If that's where I'm at, more than likely, that's the plane I'm going to go to, okay? And I'll give you the example. The second time that I passed over to the other side, dead, gone, okay? The first time was a great experience. It was like celebrations and like rainbows and like peoples from all different, you know, cultures and beliefs, and I was familiar with them all, and it was just very like chaotic, like coming out of like being in a physical and then going into this spiritual dimension, right? But the second time that it happened to me, I was living that selfish mindset, right? I was getting high, I was running around, I was stealing from stores, I was hurting my friends and family, I was not trustworthy, I was not, you know, all these bad things, right? But the mindset was selfishness, basically, generally. And when I passed over, I was in total darkness, just like the globe in the picture. I was in total darkness. Being in total darkness, I could still feel, but I felt alone. So the psychology and mindset that you have here in the physical is going to have heavy, heavy weight and consequences for you in the interdimensional spiritual, okay, when you go there, okay? So my advice is that if you know that you're going to go there, is to be surrounded with love, be surrounded with serenity, okay? Put yourself into a place where all is good. Even though all is bad, all is still good, because good and bad are just mindsets, right? When it comes to like whether you feel good about something or you feel bad about something, these are mindsets that we self-create, right? Now, I'm not saying that they don't have value or they're not significant or that, you know, they're not they're not appropriate, okay? Because you can feel good about things, you can feel bad about things. You're supposed to, right? That's how you get by. But what's really important? What's really of importance to you, right? When people act in selfish ways, I think that a lot of the origin comes from lack of knowledge, right? Misdirected desires and judgment. But all of these are fear-based. So once you like understand that all this stuff is just psychological nonsense, right? Intellectual discourses and verbiage, intellectual exercises with each other, right? Once you come to that realization that that's what's going on around you all the time, then there's not much else, right? But the other thing is that there's also with the tarot cards, because that's how we got onto this discussion, the tarot cards. You have to understand it. When I flipped those cards, it had nothing to do with like contacting the other side or, you know, asking some higher source of spirit or any of that crap. Dead people, none of that stuff. That's not what I was doing at all, at all. What I was doing is I was exercising what you have inside of you, which is your natural right. It's your inheritance. It's the concept of creation, to be a co-creator in this existence. What you're investing your care and efforts and energies into, okay? If I walk around and I'm fear-based, okay, and I have all this anxiety and pent up stuff, you know, then that's pretty much what my reality is going to look like too, you know, and it's going to affect me, my health, and the people around. But if I walk around positive, upbeat, what can I bring to the situation? Not what I can take away from it, right? What can I learn from this person instead of making judgment? Do I really need that in my life? Misdirected desire. How would that affect them, the other person, the other party in the equation? Tarot card reading for me isn't something that I really participate in too much anymore, but I was getting heavy into it for a little while because really it was the psychology of the cards and the breaking down of that. I'm really absolutely convinced that those cards are extremely 1000% accurate because that's what I've manifested into this universe, not because some spirit or ghost or source from the other side told me anything. All that shit you see, you know, in this box that you're watching me in, all that shit that you see where people are contacting spirits and all this stuff, I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying it's totally unnecessary for the ones that know the truth, for the ones that act with proper intentions, proper care, proper principles. None of that stuff matters, right? I'm going to leave you on that note. But stay tuned for part 3, because part 3 is going to be breaking down more of this clip, more of this video. We're snatching headlines again. We're still snatching headlines every day out of this thing. It's crazy. Does it mean it's the end? It ain't the end for me. I'm eternal. I'm an eternal being of light. Do you know what that is? That means I'm from time connected with. Break it down. AETURN or TERNAL. From time connected with. AL. Connected with. Right? From. AE. From. TERN. Time connected with. That's what I encourage you guys to be like that too. Like, live in the moment. That's what it means. It means live in the moment and stay connected to everything. It's simple.